Okay, morning. My name is Nataly. I come from France. I'm teacher in primary school. And I will present to you my project with Manuel from Spain. Yes, we speak about introduction, school, team, and examples of activities. Next, please. Okay, our school. So I come from France, in the center of France, in Clermont-Ferrand. School Les Volcans in Saint-Genès-Champanel. It's a little school in the landscape. Okay, and Manuel come from Colegio Santo Angel in Badajoz in Spain. Each other, we have two classes of 24 pupils, 9-10 years old. And Ciara is our coach. Thank you, Ciara. Okay, the story of our exchange. It's a long story between Badajoz and Saint-Genès-Champanel. At first, we met around a Christmas project, and after that, Aude and Concha made a project. Two colleagues, yes, a Spanish and a French, virtual project, and so I go with her because it was very interesting. So the first virtual exchange was in 2021. Around Chinese portraits and a presentation about our schools. And at the end, we create a collaborative book, similarities and differences about our schools, subjects, times. Okay. And the second virtual exchange in 2022-2023 was around ABC book, around alphabet. It was a small project. Last year, the first activity was an icebreaker activity around portrait. So at first we wrote portrait. My name is, I'm 9 years old. I have long blonde hair or short brown hair or something like that. And we sent into Spain and receive their portrait in France. And we draw the paintball. Okay. And during the synchronous session, we play a game Who's Who, and we have to discover, to guess who is the pupils, Spanish or French pupils. So we have some examples of cards come from Spain. My name is Hector. I have 9 years old. I have brown eyes. It's a very there are a lot of details to be able to recognize the partners. The first visio, the first synchronous visio between France and Spain. So you show the picture and you have to get the pupil. Oh, Christmas, it's an unavoidable topic because pupils like very much Christmas. They like create cards, they like song. So we sing in French, in Spanish, and in English. I have no video because how to keep in touch during the project with WhatsApp on email. Okay, the main project was about wild animals. At first, we learned vocabulary, sentences, structure, and question. And during the first session synchronous, it's a game, What Am I? You have to describe an animal, a card with an animal, and your partner have to guess. Please, I have some examples. So in the English notebook, we have something like that with animals. It's very simple. The name of animal, body parts of animals, and please. And you have some little sentences. I have 4 legs. My fur is gray. I live in savannah. I eat leaves. What? Okay. So it's example of activity about the first synchronization. What am I? The second synchronous.
So the second synchronous session was again about the theme of wild animals. This theme was chosen because it fit into both of the program curricula in primary Spanish education and in primary French education. Here, the focus was more on interaction. So preparing the students with classroom language to ask questions. So here you have some examples. Does the animal have 4 legs? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. So the idea was to have the students try to guess the partner's card by asking yes or no questions. Here, this is the second video conferencing session. The students are coming to the computer that's at the front of the classroom because we're not in secondary schools. We don't have a computer lab, so normally 1 computer per classroom. And it's projected onto the whiteboard for the rest of the class to partake in the activity. So there's 1 group of 3 pupils is coming to the front of the class and they're playing this guessing game, asking, does it have a head? How many legs does it have? This animal has 6 legs. Does this animal live in the sea? No, this animal lives on land. So here they're changing the situation around, but we're still reusing and recycling the vocabulary that they've seen from the previous task. Let's play the audios.
Ce que j'ai aimé dans l'anglais, c'est parler des animaux avec les correspondants espagnols et de faire les visios. C'était amusant de le faire avec d'autres personnes que la classe.
Yeah, so the first thing was the topic. The students loved it because it's about animals, and at this age, they're all very much into animals, which was quite surprising that their interests fitted into the curricula. So I thought that was good that the tasks spoke to their personal interests. I think they said they were a little bit intimidated about speaking in front of the camera to their peers, but the fact that they've done previous tasks helped them feel more at ease. The students who were watching actually enjoyed the game. So they were active listeners. You could see they were actively listening. They were noting down things and they were trying to guess as well. So it wasn't just small group work, but actually the whole class was trying to anticipate, I think it's a snake, but they haven't got there yet. So they still have to ask another 3 questions to get to the fact that it's a snake.
How to keep in touch with my partner, my Spanish partner, with the Padlet. We have to create a virtual class, and on the Padlet we can put some photos, some description about our school, or how they feel after the synchronous session. Next, please. Oh, next steps next year. Yes.
Yeah, so what we're thinking about for next year is to have students create imaginary animals. Fantasy is actually part of the French curricula. And also we think that one of the limitations of the guessing game is that, all animals have a head. So if we were thinking if we could create fantasy animals with more body parts or different body parts, we'd be able to use more numbers rather than just going up to, 8 legs. But, they could have 16 legs, for example, and this would be able to extend the vocabulary in terms of numbers, colors, body parts, which are the 3 linguistic objectives. In a synchronous session, we also thought about more collaborative teamwork, having the students vote for favorite drawings of the animals. So we imagined that the pupils could each individually draw an imaginary animal and write a description. And then as a team, choose one animal that would become their team mascot. So that would allow for negotiation of meaning and talking about preferences. And then we've been using with Nataly's school quite a lot a collaborative platform called Story Jumper, which is where the pupils can connect and be in Story Jumper together. They can use text chat and audio chat within the platform, and the visual image is that of a book, and they can drag and drop pictures to make a collaborative like photo album. It's not necessarily photos, they can be sketches, but they can say, you know, I would like to have a picture of a lizard, and then place the lizard into the collaborative book. Let's move the lizard to the top right-hand corner, and let's put a tree. And so then they can search for a tree, an image of a tree, and bring that into the book. One of the reasons that we're interested in doing this is to promote more collaboration between them, but also have the final task where we're able to print out these books, and the students are going to be able to go back home to their families and show each other what they've been doing in English class. And I say that's one of the really important aspects of the project. One of the reasons for the Padlet was taking what they've been doing inside the primary school classroom outside, so that the parents can connect to the Padlet and have a look at what's been going on, or the parents can reread the books that they produced with the school children. It can go into the school library, it can go into the local village library, and the idea is not to keep what we've been doing in the virtual exchange sessions within the school, but trying to involve the whole educational community.
So be flexible. Of course, you need to be flexible because you have to adapt your calendar with your partner, with your Spanish partner. You have to plan your project, is very important. Plan the lessons with your own pupils. Plan the video conferencing. Yes, the video. Be creative because you need to have a lot of ideas with your young people. Don't be afraid, like me, because it's not so difficult. And ask help when you need. Thank you very much, Ciara. And share with your colleague. It's very important to share with your colleague.
Can I just add something there? Often I think that when we say that we're doing virtual exchange with learners as young as 6, the reaction is, really? You know, what do they do? How do they interact? I'd say in France, there are 2 obstacles to this. French primary school teachers are experts in all subject areas, so they're not just language experts, but they're experts in all subject areas, and quite often their own language level can be a barrier to being engaged in such exchanges. So as Nataly says, don't be afraid, go for it. And secondly, involving the children, thinking about the classroom setup is extremely important. How to have one group of children interacting via video conferencing with, in this case, Spain, but also the preparation stages. What are the other children going to be doing during the task? And some of the things we've been exploring in the project is how to use listening grids so that they can record their answers and follow the exchange and be involved. So we're trying to think about how to, in terms of the physical setup of the classroom, how to dedicate time to the exchange, but involve everybody in the classroom. But I think, as Nataly says, that some of the interactions that we're now analysing from a research perspective are amazing. There's really creative language use. There's actually task management where, you know, they're asking their partners to repeat, let's move on. And so I think that we should, you know, imagine that 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds are totally able to do these things if the preparation is done correctly, both in terms of resources and classroom and task management language, which I think is really important, you know, teaching them phrases to ask them to, can you repeat, let's move on, are you sure, etc. So thanks, Nataly, because I think we need more teachers like Nataly who jump in and go for it. Yeah, so maybe we can show or let you hear some of the student reactions. Okay, we will somehow get them integrated. Yeah, we can try to integrate the audios when the presentations are put onto our website. Any questions? Yeah, there's an online question.
There is an online question from Jules Fauré, I think. Jules Fauré. Thanks, Nataly, Ciara, did you notice any signs of improvement in learners' English skills afterwards, like reusing vocabulary in other tasks or context?
Okay, so did you see any improvements in students' language use? Actually, not in Nataly's classroom, but in another classroom in the same school. One of the things that we introduced in primary school classrooms, we have morning rituals where we talk about the date, the weather, the season. And one of the things we introduced was actually doing those rituals in English rather than in French. And some of the students could see that they were a little bit more confident about speaking and then could do their morning rituals in English. In terms of language improvement, the projects are over such a short amount of time. I think what we need to do, Nataly's now been involved in several projects, is that we need to look at the interaction data that we've recorded over several projects. But here it's not necessarily the same as pupils. But, language learning at this age, there are very small improvements. But I would say what more came out of it was more creative language use. So, for example, they would say things like, rather than they'd say, my favorite food is pizza in another task. I don't like food is mushrooms. So, okay, that's not correct, but everybody understands. And that's not something they'd been taught, but they were putting it together based on another task and trying. And I think if we're doing that with pupils and getting there, that's already a great jumping stone to getting them interested in languages.
And how long were these synchronized sessions to keep their attention, or what time did you need?
The session 40 minutes, 45 minutes, because it's too long after that. It's too long for pupils who are sitting on their place. So it's enough. Just I would like to, for a virtual exchange, you have to take care about your Spanish partner, your Spanish college, because it's very difficult for primary school to find a colleague, foreign colleague, to have a project, not only a little project about Christmas, for example, but a project during one school year. And sometimes it's difficult to find a very motivated colleague in other country. So I take care Badajoz and Santo Colegio. Thank you, Manuel and Concha.
Yeah, because what we see in other European projects is that the teachers come together for maybe one activity or one task. And what's important in eLive is sustained interaction. And so finding partners who've got, can spend time doing different tasks over the school year is really important, but difficult. Once you've got a partner with whom it works, you need to keep the partner. Anything else? Merci beaucoup.